Hello everybody and welcome to Tiger Tales, a place you'll find stories and fanfictions written and read to you by your host, me, Tai Tiger. Today we're diving back into my current crossover story. Normally I write fanfictions in the case of I like my OCs, I like original characters and telling stories in the worlds I fell in love with, but I'm also kind of a fan of crossing things over that you never really thought would cross over, but it might just make sense. So, today I bring you the third part to a crossover that I've been working on. Go check out the first two parts if you haven't already, then come back. But, if you're sticking around to awesome, let's dive in with this crossover. I thought of the almost perfect crossover, as in the cartoon that the crossover is part of. There's a character based off Doctor Who, so I thought why not cross over Ben 10 Alien Force with Doctor Who. So, in the last two chapters, the Doctor Who met the Ben 10 Alien Force trio, Ben, Gwen and Kevin, and they found a Cyberman who was alien technology enhanced. Well, after realising what had happened, Ben used Upgrade to transport the TARDIS to a different place, and they turned up on a big ship. That being said, let's dive into our crossover. Ben 10 Alien Force, ex-Doctor Who, Protectors of Time and Space, Part 3. The Doctor, Ben, Gwen and Kevin stepped out of the TARDIS and entered what looked like a landing station for a big ship. On one side of the room was a holographic shield that kept the universe outside, and the dark depths of space could be seen. The rest of the room was completely empty.
It looks like a space station. The plumbers use them a lot.
Gwen told them. This could be the plumbers? Ben muttered through his headache.
If it was plumbers, then why is it so dead around here?
Kevin asked. Everybody turned to the Doctor, who looked troubled.
Sorry, I'm just still trying to figure all this out. Why enhance a Cyberman with technologies from a different universe?
The Doctor stated. Maybe we should just have a look around, Ben suggested.
Can you even walk?
Gwen asked sternly. I got a bit of a headache, but nothing much more than what Vilgax has done before, Ben muttered.
We could split up. 2 teams of 2.
Kevin suggested.
I will go with Ben. There seems to be 2 doors, so take your pick. If you find anything, holler on the communication device.
The Doctor told them. Then Kevin and Gwen ran off down to the south door, and Kevin found a panel. He tried to tap on it, but nothing happened. Then Kevin took a second, pulled out his plumber badge, and waved it in front of the panel, and the door activated. The door opened, and both of them left the hangar, and entered the corridor, which seemed just as dark and daunting and empty as the hangar was.
How did you even know it was gonna work?
Gwen asked as they strolled down the corridor.
It was a guess, to be honest. I just went with a hunch.
Kevin replied with a shrug.
Yeah, be careful with your hunches. They have a habit of getting us into trouble.
Gwen said with an eye roll.
Are we gonna aimlessly walk around and let my ego get bruised, or are you gonna do something?
Kevin asked her. Gwen repeated her eye roll, then held out her hand and a small ball of pink light appeared as her eyes glowed pink as well. She stood there for a moment.
Something is this way.
Gwen told him. Then the ball vanished and her eyes returned to normal. She then started walking off. Kevin followed her as they walked into a large room.
Wow, this is kinda cool. I mean, it's bad. It's so bad.
Kevin muttered. Gwen threw him a glare, then turned back to the room. The room was filled with Cybermen, strapped to tables and big machines. Were pulling the Cybermen apart, adding new technology to them. They were being enhanced.
See that weird-looking device and that blaster there?
Kevin asked, pointing to the arms enhancing the Cybermen.
Yeah, so what about them?
Gwen asked.
That blaster is an A-class level 2 plumber blaster. It's standard grade. Anyone with a plumber badge can get a hold of one. And that device is used to restrain a polymorph. Solidifies their molecular structure to a solid matter for some time.
Kevin explained.
So they are being upgraded to fight Ben's aliens.
Gwen asked, concerned.
I believe so. Hang on, let me check this.
Kevin said. Then Kevin walked over to the table with a holographic tablet and he picked it up to examine it.
There's tech here to handle several of Ben's transformations. We are talking Heat Blast, Goop, Echo, Rip Jaws. Hell, they even got something to withstand Wrath.
Kevin blurted out. Gwen watched as the machines were adding and welding new parts to the Cybermen. Suddenly, a Cyberman walked in and aimed its arm cannon. Gwen threw a pink orb at it, dead on, making it stumble backwards. Then Kevin ran up to it, placing its hand on the wall, his arm turning into pure steel. He ran up to the Cyberman, and with a hard swing, he punched it in the head, knocking it to the floor. Then Kevin turned to Gwen.
We better shut this down, now.
Gwen stated.
You see, if you could tackle this on a software level, I will start punching things.
Kevin replied. Then Gwen started typing away at the keyboard, and Kevin advanced further into the room, touching the wall once again, and then he placed his hand on the wall and held it there so his entire body became metal. He walked up to one of the big robotic arms that was welding the enhancements to the Cybermen and started ripping it out the ceiling. Sparks flew across the room.
Hey listener, this is a not paid for product placement for the Zero to Hero podcast.
What do you
If
mean
you
not
definitely
paid?
like what you're listening to now, come on over to the
How the
Zero to
fuck am I
Hero
keeping my
podcast.
Lights on. Just
Anywhere you want to be able to find your podcast
the
at,
trash bills.
like
due
Apple
next week.
Podcasts,
What the-
Spotify, Amazon Podcasts,
How the
and
hell
Google
am I gonna keep
Podcasts,
my
which
God
still a little
poison
weird.
for the next 2 weeks. All
Come
the
on over
pre-orders are
and
starting to
enjoy
fucking
yourself
drop.
and listen to Billy and myself bicker, argue, and,
Speaking of the
fight
dog,
about a lot of
no
things,
goddamn
as
dog
we
for-
are the bulk
for
and
next
skull
2
of
weeks.
podcasting.
How the hell am I
Good
going to
luck
get
out there,
money
and
for-
welcome back to the show.
Ben and the doctor ran through the north door and jogged down the corridor. There was a door to the left and a door in front of them. The door in front of them opened and 3 Cybermen stood on either side of the door, aiming their wrist cannons and opened fire. Both Ben and the doctor dove to one side. Ben turned his attention to the arbitrate, which had finally stopped flashing red, and the hologram appeared. Ben turned the dial twice and slammed his hand on the watch, and in a flash of green, he transformed. Chroma Stone! He called out. Then Chroma Stone jumped out and let the blast hit him. Then the energy siphoned through his body. Then he aimed his hands back and released a rainbow blast of energy which hit all 3 Cybermen, knocking them down. The doctor then bolted to the door and aimed his sonic screwdriver at the door console, and the door closed.
I have just brought us a few minutes. We will go this way.
The doctor said as he used his sonic screwdriver to open the door on the left side of the corridor. It opened and both the doctor and Chroma Stone darted to the edges of the doorway, but nothing seemed to be on either side of the door. The doctor and Chroma Stone walked through the door and out of the corridor and entered a staircase. They walked up it and entered a rather large room with a massive console, and a man stood there staring at the 3 huge screens. 2 Cybermen stood beside him, guarding him. Well. Ben Tennyson, and the doctor at last, the man said. Hang on, do we know you? Do you know us? Chroma Stone asked. The man turned around. He was a finely dressed gentleman with a trench coat and black, icy, groomed hair. Very well, Benny, old boy, the man grinned.
Who are you?
The doctor asked. I'm here to help the Cybermen reach their true potential on a multiversal scale, the man told them. But why in my universe? I hope you know I'll stop you, Chroma Stone called out. Oh, please, Benjamin, this universe was like yours. It had a Ben, a lovely Gwen, and the Omnitrix. When I took over, I brought the Cybermen here. I then started working with the Forever Knights in your universe, the man explained. But how do you know how to find me? Chroma Stone asked.
He's a Time Lord?
The doctor blurted. Then Chroma Stone turned back into Ben with a flash of green light. Wait, how do you know that? Ben asked him.
Us, Time Lords, can sense each other, sort of. when it works.
The Doctor said. That is right. I am a Time Lord. You're very much correct. The man said. But why are you doing this? Ben asked him. I want to prove a point. I want to make the universes burn, the man yelled.
You have a name?
The Doctor barked. Ah yes, now it is time for my grand reveal, the man replied with a wave of his arm. He hopped over the bars and walked up to Ben and the Doctor and unbuttoned his shirt. He pulled down one of the sleeves to reveal his shoulder and chest. There they saw it. Ben's mouth dropped open and the Doctor looked even more confused and in shock as the Omnitrix laid upon the man's chest. My name is Benjamin Kirby Tennyson, the man growled. Ben and the Doctor looked at each other, completely confused. And your friend's little attempt to destroy my experiments didn't even faze my agenda, as I've just opened a portal and sent 3 warships to your universe, Benjamin, and its hero isn't there to save it, the Time Lord screamed. Then he ran over to the console and hit a big button. The screen changed, showing Ben and the Doctor, the 3 ships advancing on Bellwood. You cannot stop me, Benjamin, the Time Lord Ben screamed out. Ben stood there with his fist clenched. He had left his universe and with the Doctor, Gwen and Kevin, the 4 people best, to fight a Cybermen invasion which had enhancements, were no longer in it. Ben scowled at the evil Ben who had somehow got a Time Lord alien transformation. He cannot believe he fell into his own sorta trap. And there you have it, guys. Part 3 of our invasion. Now, this was a quick part, I will admit, but it was part 3 nevertheless. I hope you guys do enjoy. Now, of course, make sure you check out Nerds Through Comics, which is where our voice actor for Doctor Who, Mark the Corner Stranger, is hosting this crossover as well. So please make sure you go check out his podcast, Nerds Through Comics, where he adapts comic books, including Doctor Who ones, and he also has been writing his own original stories. Then, make sure you check out our 3 Ranger Bro third member, me and Mark being the first 2, make sure you check out the third member, Cosplay Dude 637, and his multiple podcasts, Sailor Moon E, The Order, Storytime with Cosplay Dude 637, and Power Rangers Universe 19, just to name a few. Of course, subscribe to this channel. You'll find multiple stories and fanfictions along the way, and maybe some more crossovers. Then, make sure you check out Tiger Tales, The Lost Stories, a YouTube channel where you find more stories and fanfictions, but they're all in the first person perspective. Then check out Tiger Tales Game Over. The same thing, just all stories revolve around video games. Then, of course, check out Tiger Tales The Mysterious Origins, where you'll find my original story content, but not only that, you'll find my connections between all my stories. That's right, all my stories are connected. That being said, thank you guys for listening. Don't forget to check out the other stuff that the 3 Ranger Bros do, and I shall see you guys real soon.